Let's turn back to one of our top stories right now, the ongoing investigation into that series of national security leaks. Congressional leaders are demanding answers from the Obama administration on both sides of the aisle, asking how sensitive information, such as the recent cyber attacks against Iran and the president's so-called kill list of terror suspects, could have gotten out in the first place. Joining us now on set, Congressman Peter King of New York, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, welcome to you. Thank you very much.
Jamie, thank you.
Maybe I'm a little sensitive because I was in the towers on 9/11, but I really worry about giving the enemy confidential and classified information. Was this a game changer that so many of these details have gotten out?
Well, it certainly could be. This is the most shameful cascade of leaks I've ever heard or seen in government. We're not talking about an incidental leak coming out. We're not talking about something buried in the middle of some report by a third-rate employee. We're talking about leaks involving two of the most sensitive programs in the United States government, which really national security depend upon, being leaked out with thousands and thousands of words and stories in the New York Times. And it's clear from those stories this came right from the White House, came right from the National Security Council, came right from the Situation Room. And for the president to say that he's outraged by this, and how could anyone say this would happen in his White House? And by the way, that annoys me too. He says, my White House. It's not his White House. Fact is, that's the people's house, and he should know that. But that shows the type of arrogance that's going on here. For him to say that he's so shocked by it, how come he said nothing at all about it until a few of us, including John McCain, stood up and took him to task for it? Then suddenly he says he's going to do something, and Eric Holder is appointing two U.S. attorneys, and it's not clear what power they're going to have.
First of all, you are quoted as saying that you have chapter and verse of these programs, these top programs that you're saying, not incidental ones, and you have also been quoted as saying it has to come from the top. Do you have facts to back up that statement? I
have facts to back up, but based on what's in the New York Times stories themselves. They have quotes coming from the president, so it has to be somebody in the president's own inner circle. They have people who are in the Situation Room at the White House. You can't get in there. I mean, you have to have the top security clearances to be there. That's in the White House. It's a skip within the White House where only a small number of people are allowed in. No one's going to be talking there. No one's going to be talking about what's on in the White House unless it's approval from the top, whether it's the president himself or the people very close to the president, but it's his inner circle. He has to know who they are.
On the one hand, I understand that the FBI had begun an investigation into this, and now Eric Holder, the Attorney General, has appointed these two U.S. attorneys. I assume they will report to the Justice Department. But the Justice Department is also implicated in some of these leaks. Is it appropriate for them to be the ones to investigate?
No, it's really not. And if these are going to be real special counsels, they should have final, ultimate power. And for instance, we don't know how many lawyers they're going to get, how much of a staff are they going to get.
Are they independent at all?
So far, we don't know, and it doesn't appear to be, because in previous cases like this, the Attorney General actually gives a letter to the U.S. attorney or to the special counsel and said, these are your powers. But for instance, do they have the power to indict? Does that have to go to Eric Holder? Do they have the right to subpoena? Can they subpoena anyone they want? Can they convene a grand jury? None of this has been made clear at all. And you know, these leaks are so sensitive. If you notice, Eric Holder can't even say what's being investigated. He's not allowed to say publicly the programs are being investigated because they're still so classified.
But that might be a good thing because too much has been said so far.
No, I'm just saying that shows how classified this is, that we can't even say what we're investigating.
I'm not being a wise Alec asking you this question, but I'm truly curious. First, we had the hearings that we had to have on the GSA wasteful spending. We had the Fast and Furious program where Eric Holder was just this week testifying before a committee. Now there will be hearings on these intel leaks. With all these hearings, I'm curious whether or not the White House and Congress has time to run the country.
Yeah, I wish we didn't have to do these hearings. And I'm on the Intelligence Committee, and I know how secret these programs are, which I'm not even confirming they exist. I'm just relying on press stories. And it's not just these two most recent ones. Just last month, we had the Yemen bomb plot, which was the highest penetration we ever had into al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. No one knew about that, including the Speaker of the House. The entire program was leaked to the Associated Press. Again, that had to be such a narrow circle of people. It has to lead to people very high up in the administration, in his White House.
So just as one example, the president announced that he must sign off on every single drone strike. Now, I don't know whether that's protocol in prior administrations necessarily, but him saying something like that, would you classify that as trying to look tough on terror? You're a terror expert.
Well, no, sure he is. He's trying to be like George Patton or John Wayne. I mean, the fact is, no one wants to know what the president is doing. He's not even supposed to be talking about drone attacks. We have never confirmed that we even have that program. And here we have the president of the United States. They're talking about how he has baseball cards. He's checking off who's there, who's not there. There's reports that David Axelrod was there when the decisions are made. And then with the Stuxnet, the other program, they're talking about the Iranian computer virus. They're talking about Israel being involved. You don't tell what allies are involved with you in the most top secret programs. And then the one part of the program that apparently went wrong, Joe Biden blames on the Israelis. So he throws the Israelis under the bus, all to make the president look like he's... Listen, I give him credit for a lot that he's done on overseas terrorism. There's no need, though, to put the nation's security at risk by trying to build up his reputation for the presidential election in November. Life is too valuable. You were there on 9/11. You know what it's about. I lost a lot of constituents. I know what it's about. It's too bad that they don't appreciate this day in and day out, how serious this is.
All right, Congressman, I appreciate you weighing in, and this is what you do. So I know you'll be very busy on this topic. So thank you so much. Great to see you again. Eric and I both appreciate it.
Thank you.
Eric.
Thank you, Congressman.